in real life again. So yeah, Mark Jeffix is here at the moment. So yeah, because last time on Thursday we were watching Dashcam Owners Australia, and it's when he came. I wasn't the first one that said this, but it was dick measuring contest, and so I went to look it up on Google, and well, it's actually a slang. I mean, a dick measuring contest is a slang for a situation in which people, usually men, compete often over superficial characteristics to demonstrate their worthiness and power, etc. And that's what that means. A dick wave. And the synonyms: a dick waving contest, pissing match, pissing war, shitting match. Those are the synonyms. I did not know that, and I did not know that those were the synonyms. Okay, yeah, let's not play that. It's I'm live streaming here. I mean, honestly. And then he was at the gas station on Thursday, and there were three police cars there, and one normal police car and two unmarked police cars. I mean, not sure what's going on there. Who knows? And then there was some idiots on the road, and then he got cut off. And he was going 80 kilometers an hour, and he had to swerve into the other lane just to avoid a collision. I mean, honestly. I mean, that's not the first story I heard was when he went out to dinner with his son and he got drenched in water by mistake, drenched in his drink by mistake when the waitress tripped. And another time he got covered in meat because the waiter was mesmerized by his girlfriend. Oh, I've never forgotten that one. How could you be so mesmerized by someone and that you get so distracted that you cover someone, you accidentally tip meat all over someone? Honestly, anyway, yeah, then he's been on a roundabout before, and a woman just backed into his car on a roundabout. I mean, people are idiots. There's a lot of morons on the road. You know, one time he had a leaking radiator, and well, yeah, because it says caution hot, on the radiator cover, because you do not want to open it, when it's hot, because it's also the cap is under pressure. So you wouldn't, even if you could get that open, you don't want to open it because it would go shooting out everywhere, and it could possibly hit you in the face. You need third degree burns, and you don't want to drink coolant either, because it can kill you, obviously. My was joking, he kept a coolant, bottle of coolant in the boot of his car, apparently, just in case. Because apparently it was a leaking radiator, and his car's really thirsty as well. I guess that's just what you say when a car uses a lot of petrol. I think something like that. Who knows? But yeah, well, there's a Volvo XC90. 2010 one. It drives, it's like a tank. Because there's this video where a Volvo XC90 collided with a DAF truck, and then the front of the car was buried in the front of the truck, and the windscreen was cracked, and then the driver of the car still got out alive. I still can't believe that, because in a normal car, it wouldn't be, it would kill you. If you crash into a truck like that with a normal car, you'd die. There's no way you'd survive that. But it's only the Volvo XC90, because it's a tank, you can, and it also has a trailer hitch hidden in the boot. But it has a 3.2 engine. Yeah, that's why, because I wanted to put more coolness. I like it was able to get it open. It was already cooled down enough. You could get the cap open. Lego act.gov.au. Because he also has, actually has his, car model in his license plate as well. So it was A. Oh yeah, I remember. It was AXC090. Yeah, it's registered to a 2010 Volvo XC90 station wagon, currently registered. Yeah, it's registered till July 5th, 2026. It's got GIO insurance. Isn't that our insurance too? Because sworn we have the same insurance, the same car insurance. Because if I look up our, well, we have three cars actually. An old car, from 2005, my sister's age, as old as my sister is. And we have we have a Vienna, no, we have, we have a BMW MTCS and an Audi S3. Oh, S3 only. My mom's car. So first one, yep, so 2,500 Accord. I'm not going to say the license plates because they're diplomatic ones, and But yeah, so yeah, oh yeah, it expires next year on January 12th already. Oh, okay. Engine 94. Yeah, it does have GIO. We have the same insurance. Well, that's a coincidence. We have the same insurance. And, that license plate that the Honda has. The Honda has, when that, had a Porsche back in the day. It had the same exact license plate, coincidentally. 2023 BMW 3 Series M3 CS. Oh, it's a 2023. No. Oh, this one has NOMA. That's what my ex-phone buddy has. Why would we have NOMA as well? What? NOMA. My sister's old car had a dramatic license plate, so it was a Fiat, but we don't have that one anymore. We sold it. Yeah, we don't have that cool one anymore. No, my old is only of course now she doesn't have a car at all because she crashed it. I know it's this one. Yeah, it's 2022 Audi S3. So the BMW is newer than the Audi. I want its GIO as well. And, you already got a Bob, because Marcus Jeffries doesn't like washing cars, so when you already got when you got the car, it already had a scrape on the side and a cracked brake light because apparently some dickhead scraped it. I mean, honestly, people do this all the time. I mean, it happened with our Audi as well. When I was parking it in Kingston, and someone just clipped the back of it and did a hit and run. They didn't even leave a note or anything. It's ridiculous. People are idiots. This happened way too many times. Yeah, another time, you had a Citroen back in the day, and there was this, or it was, the red light turning white, and there was a truck next to him turning left. So the truck got the green light first, and so the truck drove off. And as it was going around the corner, its trailer tore a big hole in the back of his car, and in the rear door of the car. Luckily, he was the only one in the car. I mean, honestly, because of a truck trailer, and he literally tore a big hole in his car and in the passenger side door. Like he was the only one in the car. And funny, my sister's car, someone had there was this pickup truck that had what was it? Had these what was it? I forgot. These sharp things on the side, on the wheels, and it tore my sister's car open like a tin can. Spikes. I think that's how that was what it was. Honestly. So my sister doesn't have a car anymore because she crashed it into a parked car because it looked like she had veered off the road because the white, on the park car was a Toyota Corolla. The bumper was like completely damaged, on the right side. It looked like she had veered off the road. Recently my sister's been in the hospital, so Dad had to go to Sydney on Saturday and didn't come back till yesterday at 9 o'clock. That's when my last stream was, last night. It was 9 o'clock at night. There you go, a bit before night because they'd taken Mom's car, and we didn't know that he'd left the keys to the other cars here in his side table. And so my mum went to the gym on Sunday morning, and when you couldn't, before she could turn the car off, probably turn the engine off, then the key broke off in the ignition. So my ex-father, my granddad, here in Australia had to bring his whole toolbox with him in his ute, trying to get it out. Then had to come here to get the spare key. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Yeah. He'd been gone for a day, and he didn't sleep well the night before, from Saturday to Sunday, because he was sleeping on a hospital chair, obviously. That's just like when I was hospitalized many years ago in America. I could never forget this. Yeah. I stabbed the teacher in the eye with a marker, and then we were sent to the crisis center by the principal at the school. And then that's when this person told us, this woman told us that I needed to be hospitalized, and Mum just burst into tears. And well, yeah, that's then I got hospitalized, and then I ended up at a place called Shepherd Pratt, which was not fun. I still remember how their fire alarm sounds. It would say, fire drill an A1 and fire drill an A1. And it woke me up at night once as well. I could never forget that. And then on the day I was being discharged, I did something really stupid. I can't really remember what it did, but there was this other kid, and I was walking in the hospital, and well, yeah, I think I pushed him over. I can't really remember what happened, but it was something like that. I think I pushed him over, but I'm not too sure. I can't really remember. So then I went to the room I stayed in, and hid under the blankets, but it was no use. They still found me anyway, and then restrained me in the process. You know, and then I'm just one of those people who doesn't like it when people put their hands on me. So yeah, one of the first support worker that I ever had, that went to the gym with me, didn't know that he wasn't supposed to put hands on me, and then restrained me to the ground, and I scraped my knee open, and yeah, it wasn't good. It was not good. Yeah, didn't know that because he didn't know he wasn't supposed to put his hands on me. So yeah, I've been restrained many times before, even at one of my schools in America. I went to 4 different schools in America. The last one I went to was Kenty Creek. The other one was Lakelands. I was restrained there, and no, they were, because they were just standing with me restrained at the outside in the football court. They were just, we were just standing there, and I was just restrained, and there's nothing I could do. They were just standing there, and I was being restrained. One teacher on each side, and I was, we were just standing there. And one of my arms free, but then the teacher immediately grabbed my arm and he pulled a bit too hard because it actually hurt. Yeah, that same teacher I do actually, but because I was a different person back in the day, so I actually, ended up, I did actually once hit him in the face because I was a different person back then. It happened to me in mom as well, and the police would come to our place and tell me that aggression is not okay. But I'm a different person now, and I don't have aggression anymore. Because even if I did, I'm an adult now. I could go to jail because that's called assault. That's why I don't, I'm a different person now. I don't do that anymore. So the last place I want to end up in is in jail, obviously. That's why I don't do that anymore. I'm a different person now. Yeah, I was a different person back then, in America. And it's a good thing we got out of America when we did. And, yeah, because I was a different person back in America, and why the dog, the dog didn't, trust me because of, there was just hurt and all that, I was a different person back then. Because every time, does fast feeding, when my sister's dog does it, she starts barking because I was the one that taught her that. Otherwise, my feet would always be fast, and then, that's why she always barks when when you move your feet really quickly. Anyway. As I recently, one weekend, I went over in Sydney. They came back, when they came back on Monday in the evening. Mike was a birthday for Star, I remember, yes. And they came back just in time before we left. And I was sitting in my office watching a video, and when all of a sudden, usually the dogs come in, because they usually have food lying on the floor. At that time, our dog came in here, and she sat on my lap. And I was a bit confused why, because usually she doesn't sit on my lap. And when I would go to the gym, and Dad was outside blowing the leaves, and she just came into my room and sat on my lap. Usually she doesn't do that. And she was really shaking as well. I wasn't sure what was going on. Like a pet, and ask if everything's okay. I don't understand dogish, but I wasn't sure what was going on there. Because usually she hasn't done that before. It's the only time she's done that. I'm not sure why, to be honest. I really don't know. Yeah, I've been, because the streams I did yesterday, I did the only time when I streamed all day, it wasn't over the whole weekend. It was just on Sunday yesterday. I forgot what did I do? Oh yeah, because I was busy cleaning my room on Sunday and my bathroom, so I didn't stream on Sunday. Yeah, no, I didn't stream on Sunday. And in the summer, because you can see in all the videos, because in the summer, when it was so hot, I'd be in my underpants because I was so hot. you know, like, you know, because it was something like hot outside, it was like, because it was like over 30 degrees. So, yeah, I don't know. I just had a pizza for lunch and I'm putting sauce on my shit again. Yeah, I still have pizza sauce. I always make a mess, honestly. At least I no clean up after myself and I wash my dishes now after I use them. You know, my job is also unstack the dishwasher and yeah. This weekend I'm gonna have to get my hair cut though because it's getting, you know, it's getting long. And also, you know, I have these hairs that grow out of my mole here. Also, I've got a mustache. I mean, I'm 22, so of course my mustache is already growing over my mouth. I guess it's not really annoying sometimes because it looks in my mouth. Yeah, it's a bit annoying sometimes. And I was going to get my hair cut last weekend, but I had to go to Sydney, unfortunately, unexpectedly, because my sister was in the hospital. So I had this thing, you know, where you can't drink water properly. You know, I'm not sure what it is though, but you know, because I thought it was a stomach bug, but you don't actually go to the hospital. You just have a stomach bug. You don't actually go to the hospital. But my sister didn't just have a stomach bug. She was like, you know, thing, you know, where you couldn't drink water or something. I'm not sure what that is, but yeah. Yeah, so we look after each other more often. Yeah, no, that's why he said, you know, that you know, that you should be going more often. You know, because I was, you know, the man of the house, the modern child, as my mom was saying it, as my mom said, that was the modern child, you know, and I was saying, you know, needing how he should be going more often. Yeah, I was laying in my bed yesterday, and I would, you know, there's other extreme. You might be wondering, might look like I was sleeping on my chair, but I actually wasn't. I was lying on that chair because I had a really, you know, had a tummy ache because I had two pies and then I had all that candy as well. So of course my tummy was just and water as well. So my tummy was just yeah, it wasn't fun. I'm better now, so you know, I slept through, you know. Then I went to bed, you know, because I woke up at 7:30 in the morning because I went to bed at about 11, something like that. I can't really remember because I got this, you know, text, you know, this Teams message on Marco's Graphics, and I thought, you know, if I went to bed earlier because I was, you know, listening to that, you know, yeah, because he wrote, yeah, but he wrote, quality sleep is normally the one before midnight, and so going to sleep a bit earlier will benefit you big time. Yeah, that's why, you know, that's why I went to sleep early instead of midnight. You know, like when I went on vacation for 3 weeks, so did my other trip. We went to Hungary for 3 weeks because you know Hungary and Austria used to be, you know, used to be the Austrian-Hungarian monarchy, apparently. But that was way before I was born. So. You know, it was a different thing. I went on another vacation, you know, a truck almost cut him off. You know, like you see the dash cam as a photo, and the truck merges into the, you know, into the lane in front of you. You know, luckily his wife warned him, and he was able to, you know, slam on the brakes. Because otherwise, he could have gotten into an accident. Because if he hadn't slammed on the brakes, and you know, no one warned him, you know, what would have happened is, you know, because you know, you wouldn't have seen it, and then the truck would have been in the lane, and probably rolled his car over or something, which would be pretty bad. You know, I mean, there's a lot of idiots on the road. And then the truck drivers, they just don't, you know, clearly they don't look before they change the lanes. That's why that happens, because clearly they don't check before they change the lanes, before they switch lanes. They clearly don't check before it. And I mean, honestly, they clearly don't use their mirrors. That's why that happens. And then next thing you know, there's a truck cutting in front of you because clearly they don't realize there's a car behind them. Honestly, like, another story was, you know, boat trailer. Apparently, something happened. The trailer ended up coming undone. Something really happened to the trailer. Yeah, yeah, lots of shockers. He's got to go to the mechanic a few times as well. And just like we have cameras around our house, everyone has a camera at his house as well. And there's a bunch of garages there. I mean, there must be in a big apartment building because there's lots of two-car garages by the looks of it. Judging by they're probably the same size as our garage. There was a whole load of them. Like, you know, that's usually the reason there's. I that's usually because there's an apartment. You know, I mean, people need somewhere to park their car. You know? You know, his dash cams on his car as well. On his, the Volvo, he has only a dash cam at the front, but on his wife's car, there's one in the boot and in the back and the front. But he always has the microphones muted because he swears a lot. So yeah, we came up with these oh fuck moments. And that that Volvo and the no, that was one of them. So, yeah, there was another time his wife's car was buried under a tree that fell down. And then it was not the only car that was buried under the tree. There was another car buried under the tree with us. It was quite a big tree. It was obviously meant to be cut down. Because when a tree gets old, it becomes something in German it's called morsch. Where the wood is, it's not sturdy anymore, so it starts to easily break apart. And that happens to a tree. A branch could break off, and if you're standing under it, that could end up falling on your head. Could be good. Yeah. Or that tree was needed to be cut down, and clearly they didn't cut it down in time, so then it broke off and fell. Fortunately, yeah, that's what happens when you don't cut the trees down in time, and they're gonna have devastating results. If somebody even once crashed his drone into a pond by mistake. I mean, I don't know if drones are waterproof. I guess some of them are. I'm not too sure, but it's not really wise to crash your drone into the water because it could get damaged. It's not really a wise thing to do. I've never owned a drone in my life, to be honest. It's like I've never owned a PlayStation in my life. Yeah, and not only because I now have an Xbox Series X. I used to have an Xbox Series S. That's the one, but that's not the only Xboxes we had. We had an original Xbox One as well, which is still linked to my account, and it was called APO Xbox. It's actually still linked to my Microsoft account. I never removed it. What happened was I damaged the HDMI ports about it. I couldn't plug an HDMI cable into it anymore. And so my dad got this soldering iron, because it's soldered on it, but you didn't have the right port anyway, because you buy replacement ports, and Microsoft uses a special type of ports, so you didn't have the right ports. You had to buy a replacement port, but when you took the coolant port off, it took off these pads which I needed to be on the board in order to put the new port on. So then that's when we realized that console was finished. And then there was also a Kinect with it. And unfortunately, what happened to the Kinect was I took the stand off. Well, technically, I broke it off because I didn't really, yeah. But what I didn't realize is when I took the stand off is that the microphone, the Kinect's microphone array was part of the stand. So when I broke it off, I also broke off the microphone cables, so there was no sound anymore. Plus, and then it was like cutting out. It would shut off, and there was completely malfunctioning. It would turn off and on and off and on. Yeah, it just wasn't working anymore. Yeah, it's gonna get that. So yeah. Now I have a Logitech QuickCam 49000 actually too, because one of these, X-Farm buddies, one of the vendors, one, because he got it all on my computer, so I could always, my second monitor used to be his old monitor as well. These are different computers as well. I had an Optiplex 3060. I remember I had an Optiplex 3020. There was a point where I had two computers. I had another gaming computer, which is a Nitro 50 to 600. My devices is also for a virtual machine, yeah. I forgot about that. Oops. Yeah, so one of them was from VirtualBox, yeah, one of the desktops, yeah. One of my computer's desktop has always been called Desktop 8 F4OONT. I never changed that name up because I stuck to that name, my desktop name. So and last time I reset my computer, I didn't remove everything. I couldn't remove some of my personal stuff apparently. But yeah, so unfortunately, because the Logitech QuickCam 49000 is not designed to run on Windows 11 because it's from 2007. It's 18 years old. So what is my last cousin of Brisbane? It's one the same year. But yes, the camera is 18 years old, and Microsoft's still supporting it, and Logitech doesn't make it anymore either. We still get it from third-party retailers, and I did from CEX, so I got the last one. No, because they're not meant to run on Windows 11 because the driver for Windows 11 simply doesn't exist. Plus, even I now think Windows 11 is such a shitty operating system because it's been driving me nuts lately. That's why I don't restart my computer anymore because then the mouse doesn't work and then I have to get the keyboard annoyingly. And I don't have a keyboard. I don't have a keyboard anymore. No. Again, I didn't never got a new keyboard because the last keyboard broke in a way that I saw in a YouTube video. I forgot that even happened, and I did it, and because many gamers did, and I didn't realize that you could do it easy. Clearly, my leg is also strong, so when I took the keyboard, I went like this, and it broke it in half. And of course, I was recording a video. Well, it was on my co-owner's account. I play Minecraft, and then that one probably one. You could hear it in the background. And another time, the Minecraft stream, I was playing this alien thing, and then I got killed, and then you could hear a big crash in the background because I accidentally tossed my controller in frustration. But I don't do that anymore. I'm not that kind of person anymore. No. Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. It's supposed to be like 11 degrees tonight. I'm sure when I go to bed tonight, but so we think about dinner. Yeah, I've already had a pizza, so I could make some fish fingers. I'm not too sure yet. But, of course, I didn't make my bed again. I always do this. I always forget to make my bed when I get up. Yes, I've got 3 blankets, and I was fortunate to sleep in longer this morning, so getting up at 7:55. But you know, the house has a cockroach infestation. Well, one thing is it was too warm under the blankets because I've got 3 blankets. A blue blanket, a thin blanket, and a doona, and then a weighted blanket on top, and there would be blankets. And then there's no case because the case broke. Unfortunately, the zipper broke on the blanket itself. So yeah, and then the other reason is that when I'm sleeping because we have a cockroach infestation in our house. That's why we have so many cockroach baits in our walk-in pantry. Because and then it said that I was the one that lured them in here because I always have food lying all over the place. And now they're down my rubbish down to 1 drawer now because I used to have drawers of rubbish. It was a nightmare. And the thing is, cockroaches also, that shit like we do, obviously, and waste like we do. Unfortunately, that's what I'm allergic to, and it's the same with the dust mites as well. And it causes one of my nostrils to get blocked, which is what happened this morning. And I'm non-stop snorting all the time doing this with my finger, and then snorting, it just drives me nuts because it causes my allergies. So it's all the time in the morning. And once because I have an eye company, I was used to record it, it's like emotional night, because my mom thought that the cockroaches were crawling in my mouth at night, so I decided to put up a camera to see if that really happened, but no, I didn't. But apparently, I did find out that I move around at night while I'm asleep. That is, I used to take melatonin, but I couldn't fall asleep, fine without it. Now I don't need to take melatonin anymore. Your body produces that stuff as well. Well, always lying under the blankets, and when I fall asleep. And of course, because you breathe so much at night when you're sleeping, your saliva glands don't produce any saliva. So then when you wake up, I wake up, I have like mucus in my mouth. Ugh. Yeah. And I clean my teeth in the morning. Well, that's the first thing I do after I get up. I clean my teeth, use mouthwash, my deodorant on. And this is the clothes I've been wearing yesterday. I wear the same thing, until I have a shower. I only have a shower. I should usually have a shower daily, but on my shower day is only on Thursdays. So, because, we've got a Phillips haircut now, and that's what we used to cut my hair. And then just cut my hair because we had a brown one before that, but the last time we used it, it just it wasn't working. Like the charge, it wouldn't charge properly. So then they ordered a new one. You can even make our own mineral water, and our house is quite the goodest house there is, and probably the biggest house in this street. And we have 5 TVs in total. Mom and Dad have one in their bedroom. There's of course one in the living room. We have $1,700 speaker. Well, that's with them all mounted together. Sonos Spa. And there's one upstairs. And the Sony, that's the old one we used to. We had used to have downstairs, but the Sony Entertainment Network doesn't exist anymore, so you can't watch anything on there anymore. That's why we upgraded. So my dad uses that for his Xbox because he has a Series X as well, but it's the one with the the disc drive. It's not the all digital like I have. That one's a bit more expensive, $849. My one, the all digital one, is $749. As I did a pulse weight control, I mean, costs $104 now, and I have $126. I could afford it, but I have a pulse cipher controller, which is actually $109, $5 more than the pulse weight. Yeah, and I have a Samsung TV of 55 crystal UHD with the coupons to both Samsung and Microsoft, which is how I was able to afford it. And I got so much money in Austria. Because I got 450 euros, which in Australian dollars, that's $750. Which I said, even I was shocked that it was that much money in Australian dollars. I couldn't believe that. Yeah, even I couldn't believe that. A lot of money, and well, I spent it on, what was worth it. Even have a capture card, travel batteries, everything. And plus you can design your own controllers too. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and I was also watching SpongeBob, and so and I was talking to Ben Hughes, and this is one of my favorite apps. That's why I use an emulator on my computer, because I don't have a phone. I used to have a phone, but the reason I don't have the phone is because I have this impulse where I buy the phone and then it cracks the glass. And then that's why I don't have a phone. I do have a phone number. I do have a phone number. And most people probably know that this is for people who have tried to access my account. You would see that it's ending in 58. That's my mobile number, obviously, because I forgot I even had, because I had this channel PC Tech, and apparently I forgot I even had an Instagram for it. And yesterday I checked my Gmail, and what do I find? Apparently someone requested a password reset link for my PC Tech Instagram, which I did not do because I forgot all about that account. But then I changed the password, and I forgot all about that account. So I used to be hacked all the time, but now I secured most of my accounts with two-step verification, obviously, because people kept hacking me. Because because I was, with I've been, just always, go to all these suspicious sites. So no wonder. Yeah, because my bedroom used to be upstairs. That's why older videos on my secretary just to go through what vlogs, you'd see, there's a different room, but there was a door, there's a mirror on the other side. And my door doesn't have that. And hooks it, and that's because I was in a different room. That room is now my mom's study, and I'm not allowed upstairs anymore. That's now the girls only room. My dad's allowed up there because he plays football up there, but I'm not. But, so this is my new room. This actually used to be my sister's room before it became my room. This used to be my sister's room, and I've always plywood on the wall because there was horrific holes in the wall. Anyway, yeah. So yeah. And it was my mom's idea to move everyone, move everyone, move the house around so she could get more work done. So I moved down. Because at first I wasn't so keen on that idea. I didn't really want to go, move down, at first. But then now I like this room more than the other room. I don't even want to go back to the other room because it's not too cold in the winter and not too hot, not too warm in the winter and not too cold in the summer. You know, so. There's a thermostat. There's a thermostat, because they've got a thermostat in the hallway there which controls the vents for upstairs as well. That's an hour behind because we haven't changed it because, well, it's daylight savings. That's why it's an hour ahead because they said that we're going early in October. So yeah, we don't use air conditioning. We're not using air conditioning yet because it's not hot enough. And the thing is, we do Christmas, but we don't do Halloween. I mean, Halloween can get fucked in Australia, honestly, because I don't know why Australians started celebrating Halloween. I think it's ridiculous. We don't do it. That's why we don't have any Halloween decorations. That's why no one showed up. Makes sense because we didn't have any Halloween decorations, so that way they know we don't do Halloween. Oops. Oh, funny bone. Well, your funny bone isn't actually a bone. It's a nerve, to be honest. It's not actually a bone. I don't know why it's called funny bone, to be honest. Yeah, it's now 3:32, and yeah. Yeah. It's when my when um, Then my dad is, got drenched in, the restaurant. It's actually happened to my dad as well once we were in Australia. So I kind of remember that he got drenched as well. It was once one of the times we lost, we went to this restaurant and with one of my dad's cousins, and in the background, I was looking there because waiters, I seen the waiters were, they were working, and all of a sudden the whole they dropped the whole tray of glasses on the floor. They all got smashed. That was a shocker. The whole tray of glasses just went. Yeah, that was a shocker. I still remember what I ate back then. I had a calamari and then some, garlic breadsticks. I still remember, I couldn't, it was really delicious. It's like the best thing I had ever eaten, honestly. Yeah, I already miss Austria, for 3 weeks. And hopefully we're thinking about going back to Austria next year, but we don't know yet when. We don't have any plans yet. We haven't planned that out yet. It depends how the holiday stuff and all that goes. So yeah, we don't know yet, but sometime next year maybe. But we still have to plan that. We don't know yet. At this time, we don't know yet whenabouts. But we're planning on they're going next year, obviously, but we don't know when yet. So yeah, I don't have a specific date for for the sport workers yet. I don't know because we haven't planned that out yet. We're still planning that. Still a work in progress. And I came back after 3 weeks. Boy, it took me time to get used to everything. The doors were tall. Like I had to get used to my computer screen before I had the second screen because I found it in the because how I came across the second screen is I went into the garage and that's when I found it just lying down with the cupboard. Not anyway, yeah, because the reason it took me getting used to is because when I was in Austria, their house is old school because my granddad built it himself. He was a builder when he was younger. It is about their house is about almost 60 years old. It was built around the time they got married in 1968. My dad was born 2 years before they got married. But yeah, so it's almost 60 years old, and I'm nearly as tall as the door frames there. Like I'm nearly as tall as the top of the door frame. And yeah, because the stream I was doing when we were packing the room we stayed in, that was actually not only was that my dad's old room, but it used to be my uncle's old room. Yeah, so, while we're going, that that's they're looking after each other. That's really, because my uncle used to look after them, but he's not in the picture anymore. Yeah, that's why they look after each other now. Because we were still in Bank Street at the time when we got the sad news, but we don't know when this would happen. Yeah, for his 51st birthday, at the age of 50 at the age of 50 on February 28, 2020, my uncle passed away. He died of suspected heart attack. Is what we think he did. Because he was his fitness bike in the basement, and he was wearing his training suit, and he was unzipping it to go have a shower, and he was about to. The only thing he was able to do is he was able to grab the basement door handle before he collapsed, and by the time Dad's parents found him, it was already too late. He was gone. There's not even the paramedics could provide. There's nothing anyone could do. It was already too late. Yeah, and that's why she was devastated. And she can't see very well. She has, she can't use her right eye at all. She only has 15% vision in her left eye. Yeah, a few things happened. Also, the first thing that happened was, we were having dinner. Yeah, one thing is when my granddad they was showering ice cold water because they have to because they have an old oil rig and they have this chimney there's a chimney obviously and the chimney sweeper comes to make sure it's clean. So they were doing checks and they turned off the hot water but they didn't turn it back on obviously. So of course granddad didn't know about that and then you have to take a shower in ice cold water. The first thing that happened was and then the last thing that happened was you could hear it in the background on one of the videos I said to my OneDrive. Remember, we was preparing, or doing, he always works in the kitchen, and I hear this, because I went to get some candy and I had lying in our room. And as soon as I opened the door to the living room, I hear this bang crash. It turns out my grandma actually broke a plate in the kitchen by mistake. And another time, And I'm going to say, then, that I'm going to change the light bulb out now because I have a different oven now, a new oven and a newer dryer. Then to change the bulb out because granddad was going to do that, but he thought it was a bulb you unscrew, but it's one you actually pull out. So he tried to unscrew it and he broke it off, and the end part was still in the oven. And that is old school fuses that you unscrew, you know. There you go, work for his hips and his knees are completely broken, and don't work properly anymore. It can happen when you get old, but yeah. So then after that, after I put the light bulb back in, my granddad was putting the fuse back in, screwing the fuse back in, and accidentally dropped it, and the shell broke. So luckily, he had a spare shell, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to put it back in. Because it's old school, you screw those in. Because I also have an old school heater, which is one's on a big tank of oil. It's an oil heater. They don't have no air conditioning. And that's how old school their house is. There's no air conditioning there. So when the oven's running in the kitchen, it is very hot in the kitchen when the oven's running. But it's cooler in the living room. And their internet is very, very slow. Because they only use their internet to watch TV, obviously. They don't use it for anything else. I did have a technician to come over, but the only appointment, the only available time slot they had was the day we left, September 3rd. So, it was a few hours before we left. So that said that he would sort that out when we came back, when we go back to Austria. Well, no, we're just getting, these drinks is Radler, which is a mixture of this German juice, Groby and beer. And just pouring into a cup, you accidentally knocked it over and it spilled everywhere. You could even see it dripping off the bench. No, it wasn't too good. None of those other futsal, man, that's something that's small. Because, we went there, bought this, small torch. It had a USB-C charging port. You just bought it. You didn't even know you could charge it. But then it stopped working after my grandma dropped it on the floor and it broke. And it broke it, yeah, so then it stopped working. So first time I was eating, we were having dinner and we were dinner, my drawer sits on the couch, and it's out the window. That time the window was wide open, for fresh air. And inside of it, she had put a drink on, a cup on the windowsill with a drink in it. And of course, the window was, child. So since he opens up the window wider, and which was moving the cup in the process until it fell. And saying in German, asking how you could be so stupid. And then of course, I had to, lie on the bench because I didn't want to, laugh out loud like an idiot because it was stupid. My dad doesn't like it when I laugh stupidly. You dumm laughing in German. On the Friday when we were chopping him, my dad accidentally spilled the olives. He was eating olives and he accidentally spilled the olives all over himself and they were all over the floor. And there were olives everywhere. And he said, shit. Yeah, scheiße and scheiße. There were olives everywhere. But I missed the fish finger on the floor when I dropped them all over the floor. I can't go to Madrid anymore to use it with the with the doors. Yeah. Another time and also we're going to drop his he takes pain pills, as he was going to take it, it fell on the floor. Another time he lost his money on it, dropped a coin on the couch, fell out of his pocket. The kitchen couch, it has a hole in it because the spring got part of the spring broke off and it poked a hole in the lining of the couch. So before that, they also got a bigger torch and the razor, thing, for granddad's razor, and then we helped, my dad helped out, but he also mowed the lawn, and well, to be honest, I didn't really do much. I don't think. Well, I mean, I had, I didn't really do much to help, to be honest, then there was a time where, so because I felt, I thought to myself, I should have never left my computer, and yeah, it was hard leaving as well because I was crying, and it's embarrassing. Anyway. I didn't start out with a vacation because the first flight that was cancelled from Canberra to Sydney because of a mechanical issue. And then on the way back at Dubai, the Sydney flight was delayed because the person was having a medical issue on the plane. They even had a supervisor on the plane. Yeah, so anyway, so I think, because you can't, unfortunately, my mom explained to me one day that you can't, even if your parents have anger issues, you can't say that about them. You're not allowed to say that. And you've always wondered, what if it's true? And you're not allowed to say that about them. So what if it's true then? What are you going to do then if you're not allowed to say that about them? You always thought about that because you always get, angry. You always get angry at the smallest things. And then there was even times I was like, oh, he's dead to me, And because you always get, mad at the smallest things. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's already 3:45, right? Because the Drefix is leaving at 4, so it's already in a few minutes. Yeah. He came from Edmondson Street today. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll see you in the next stream, everyone. Bye.